corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadayAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadayAShakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, let's get into it. Hey, Queen Amoni Huey, Coco Marshmallows is here, Pearly, Juju. All right, let's get into it. Okay, we the people, Lieutenant Muxwa is here with his nefarious self, Chris B, G from the land, Infinite Vibe. Let's get this party started. All right, Pearly, did I say you? Leon is here, 57 Beige Fox. All right, good to see my regulars, Melania. Okay, True Blessings, Love Christy, Danielle is here. Hey, beloved, Deronda. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Everyone hit that like button. It's the least you all can do. It doesn't cost you a thing. Okay, so let's get this party started. Now, before we get into it, hey, Cookie, beloved, before we get into it, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Okay, Carl Trave is here. Hey, D Major, Bookhorse DC. Listen, Nessa G. Now, listen, moderators, I need you on your best behavior, and I need you to be paying attention. Carl Trave said, minding our own Black business, Queen. Okay, that's all we can do, beloved. Unlike some people who are always trying to mind our own Black businesses for us. Okay, please pay attention. Hey, LL. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Now, moderators, I need you all paying attention for the trolls. Okay, let me know about the trolls in the chat. Okay, now with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. So don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Ooh, y'all, I'm tired. Is anybody else tired or is it just me? It's looking all gloomy outside, like it's gonna storm. The wind is blowing. Ha! The writer said trolls need to sit down somewhere. And you know they do. Okay, why are they always hating on the queen, honey? But let me tell y'all something. Speaking of trolls, now this wasn't a troll, but do you all remember the other day? I think they were more like a concerned black citizen, I guess. I don't know. But listen, do you all remember the other day? Hey, Annette, beloved, you all remember the other day when I told you guys that someone had the nerve to ask me if I was African? Or they didn't ask me, they told me I was. They said, "You're not FBA. You're trying to fake and cosplay FBA lineage. You're an African. You're not fooling us." Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Now, I'm sorry, but if I was an African, honey, I would be proud of it. Okay? But anywho, because there's nothing wrong with Africans in my book. But just whatever you call me, make sure it's somebody drenched in melanin. That's all I'm saying. Now, but here's the thing. So today I was reading. Hey, Dan. Dan said it's gloomy in my area too. Sleepy weather. Exactly. Okay. Now, so listen. So I was reading a few of the comments earlier. And honey, someone said, "Is she FBA?" I can't remember if they were asking me or asking people in the comment section, but they wanted to know. Okay, now I'm thinking, why is this the second person in a week that's asked me, or just a few days that's asked me, you know? Dan, you are low down, okay? Dan said, "You African queen." Anyway, as I was saying, Love Christy said the audacity, okay? But so here's the thing. Dorada said sounds like Blistering's crew. Listen, they asked, was I FBA or something like that, right? And so they did ask me, yeah, because I responded and I told them no in all caps. I said, "I am a melanated indigenous person, okay, from this land formerly known as Turtle Island." So, but here's the question. Hey, Black Airman beloved, I was just, asking myself, now why all of a sudden is everybody trying to accuse me? And yes, I said accuse. Okay. Why is everybody suddenly trying to accuse the queen of not being African American, Black, FBA, whatever y'all want to call it? So then I thought for a second, and the person who responded under them said, "I don't care if she is or not. I love her commentary. I like her commentary." So thank you. Shout out to them. But here's the thing, though. I was asking myself, what is it that has people saying that? You know what it is? It's the Democrats. Ha! That's what it is. Okay, that's what it is, because I keep pressuring you all about the Democrats. Listen, like I told y'all before, honey, y'all don't have to vote for the Democrats. Go ahead and go back to Jim Crow and walk onto the plantation, because that's what's going to happen. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue with folk, okay? I have told you all 1,000 times for the past 6 years, okay, that in my desperate fight to educate, inform, and liberate Black folk, including myself, that my biggest opponents and obstacle in my way is Black people. Some of y'all just are doing too much. Okay, now here's the thing. What do I tell you about chew the meat and spit out the bones? Honey, if you don't like the fact that the queen is talking about voting for the Democrats, that's okay. Okay, but are you going to just stop fooling with the queen because of that? I mean, I don't care if you do. Lord knows, I promise y'all I don't. But I'm just saying, you see, that's the problem with Black folk. That's why we can't unify collectively. Okay? Deronda said Queen had to fight all her life. Yes, I literally have. Okay? So with that all being said, I mean, they got the nerve to try to question my blackness. I'm the same little old girl, the little Black girl who stood at the parade, honey, okay, and saw the Klan marching down the street in Louisville, Kentucky, okay, when I was a child. So y'all can miss me with it. Honey, y'all can't take my Black card because you didn't give it to me. And I know I'm more Black than some of these people who are trying to ask questions. But here's the thing, like I said, don't worry about my politics. Worry about your own, okay? If you don't agree, that's fine. Just worry about yourself. That's all I'm saying. At the end of the day, listen, you all know that I have gone in on the Dems for years, and I'm still going to go in on them. Okay, even little Miss Crockett. But the bottom line is, I am absolutely going to vote what's for my best interest as far as I'm concerned. I don't want my health care taken. I don't want anybody else's health care taken. I don't want people to have to, struggle to pay for groceries and stuff. All of this foolishness Trump has going on with this war. Okay, it's all a load of BS. Okay, gutting the voting rights bill and all of that stuff. Y'all heard what Robert F. Kennedy said. They're trying to enslave us. And I don't mean just Black people. This time, they're trying to do it to everybody. But sadly, MAGA is not wise enough to see that they're going to be going down too. Because these rich, elite, powerful people only want the earth for themselves. Okay, allegedly. Now, with that all being said, if you have a problem with my politics, honey, you know what you can do. You can skip to Malou. That's what you can do. Okay, because I'm not pressed ever at all. All right, because either you're going to tune in or you're not. Okay, because what you're not going to do is have me stressed or pressed. I don't get mad about stuff like that. Some of y'all get mad about the most ridiculous little things. Okay, and this is what I told you all some years ago. And let me just remind you all. See, there's something that I absolutely love about white people, and it's the same thing that I absolutely hate about Black folks. So let me remind y'all, for those that forgot. The thing about white people is this. If they have 100 issues and they agree on one of those issues and they all disagree on 99 of the issues, they're still going to stay on code for the one issue that they all agree on. They don't give a damn. That's what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, with Black people, you see, we can have 100 issues and we can agree on 99 of them and only have one that we disagree. And that's enough for us to throw each other under the bus. Okay? Now, y'all sit here and y'all enjoy the commentary, the information I give and all of that, the music, the intros, the outros, or whatever. But because I say one little thing, and I'm not even talking about politics, I'm talking about in any aspect of a conversation. It could be one thing that I say that you disagree with, and some of y'all just want to throw in the towel. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. You know the queen doesn't care. But at the end of the day, you should think about that. Because is that critical thinking? Is that being logical or rational? Because like I told you, I'm going to get my information from wherever the information is. It doesn't matter if I like the person who's giving it. I don't have to shoot the messenger, but I'm going to get what I need. Because that's how I roll. That's why I'm so intellectual. Okay. That's why I'm so wide awake and I'm not asleep at the wheel. Okay. And so anyway, let me continue, honey, because I don't want to go on a whole rant. Now, let's get into this first story that caught my attention earlier today. This was reported 9 hours ago. It's very sad. Okay, this handsome Black man was found. He was found dead, and they supposedly cut his body up into pieces, like they dismembered him. And it just really made me cringe. Because just think about a loved one and then they're found after being missing or whatever and they're dead, but their body is dismembered. Like that's just all. Some people are just sick. Okay, Crystal says, yes, Queen, speak the truth, speak the word of truth. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Hey, Quiet Storm. All right, so let's get into it. This is very sad. Prayers and condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones. What is wrong with people? That's true. RG Titan says, sadly, some of our people let their emotions override their logic. Absolutely. And you know what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always says, okay? You have to rise above your emotions. And that's what you have to do. See, you can't let your emotions control you. You have to be someone who is in control of your emotions. But let's continue.
Charges filed in a bizarre case after this man's body was discovered in a local reservoir. The Douglas County Sheriff's Department arrested Brittany Baker, also Mario Barber. The two were living in a home less than a mile and a half from where that body was found. Channel 2's Tom Jones live now at the Douglas County Courthouse with how investigators made this case, Tom.
Well, George, deputies released tattoos, Parker's tattoos, to the public, and that's when a friend of his recognized them and contacted his father. His father gave his DNA, and that's when deputies identified him and connected other people to him. That led to those two people being in court here. Parker's family was here as well.
Brutally murdered. He severed his body.
That's what the uncle of 37-year-old Jamal Parker says Jamal's killers did to him. Jamal's father told me parts of his son's body still haven't been found.
And we can't even have a regular funeral because of his condition.
Brittany Baker and Mario Barber now face murder charges in connection with Parker's death. Parker's family says Baker acted like she had no idea what was going on when the charges were read in court.
She is shaking her
head like she did.
And misbelieving.
Deputies initially released pictures of tattoos found on Parker after locating his body in the Dog River Reservoir in June. Deputies later confirmed the body was connected to a 4-day search of this home not far away on Langdale Chase, a search where deputies brought out a reciprocating saw and cleaning items.
The stuff you see on TV, but I mean, they had no remorse.
Parker was well known in the Atlanta area.
He worked a lot of the bars downtown.
He was a celebrated bartender known as a master mixologist.
Well, he could mix or drink.
So many people described him as fun, lovable, someone who didn't meet a stranger. They can't believe he is gone and died in such a horrible way.
I want him to be punished. And I don't even think a life sentence is good enough.
And Parker's mother told me her son had a huge heart and just loved everybody. Baker and Barber are being held without bond. We're live in Douglas County in Douglasville. I'm Tom Jones for Channel 2 Action.
What do you think the average person forgets about investing? How much it could actually shape their future?
That's a darn shame. That is very sad and tragic. Okay, I wonder why they did that to him. And then you heard they said Karen sat up there in court trying to look all befuddled, like she didn't know what was going on. She's probably going to blame it on the black dude, and I hope she does, because he's a fool. Okay, you're an idiot, sir. I wouldn't care if she did. All right. So now, with that all being said, yes, it is terrible. Okay, now I want you all to see this. This male Karen was bothering this father who was on a road trip, and the father is white, so it wasn't race involved. But nonetheless, you know how these Karens do, male or female Karens, they're always on somebody's nerve and somebody's business. And I just have to wonder, and I want to know what you all think about this, because this white man was driving on a road trip with his daughters, cute little girls, and he stopped off to take them to the restroom. So he went inside with them. They're little children. I didn't see a thing wrong with it. Okay, so let's get into it. Reggie said probably jealousy. You know, it could have been. I mean, that looked like a nice house, and I'm sure it wasn't theirs. You know, they probably tried to grift on that man or something, honey. And then they said he never met a stranger. Let me tell you all something. Stop being so darn nice. Stop being so darn nice, because you know the word nice back in the ancient days, it meant like stupid. Okay, yeah, it did. But anyway, let's continue. Some of y'all are just too nice. You have to proceed with caution. Okay, that's what we have to do, folks. Everybody's not to be trusted. Sadly.
I'm standing in the doorway of the ladies' bathroom. Okay, my wife, there is a man with his 2 little girls using the women's bathroom. Wash your hands, baby. He is. He's washing his hands with his daughters right now. He is leaving.
Now this mofo is on the phone with the police. Why is he calling the police on this man, Karen? What is wrong with him? Now, did he expect this man to send those beautiful little girls in the bathroom by themselves in a public restroom? And here's the thing. I have to wonder, what's his motive? Is he mad because he wants to go in there? I don't trust people like that. Okay, I don't trust people like that. This is the type of behavior that should be encouraged for people to take their children into the restroom when they're little like that. Okay, it's a lot of freaks and perverts out here. We already know about the Epstein files too. Hell no. But let's continue.
All right, baby.
She is waiting.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not going to keep stopping, but Marie, I know you are not serious, beloved. You said, why couldn't he take her to the men's restroom? Really? Because men might come in there, beloved, and have to use the restroom. Okay, that's highly inappropriate. It makes more sense for him being the father. Now, this is just my opinion. Okay, it makes more sense. Look at Lieutenant Muxman said, nice equals stupid or foolish. Yes, I told you that was the original definition. Okay, so listen, it makes more sense for him to take them in there where the ladies go. They're little girls. That way he doesn't have to worry about a man coming in there. Only people supposed to be coming there are women. But this freak that's on the phone calling the cops on him, I think he's some kind of perv or something. I think he got mad because that man was being protective of his children, as he should.
To use the restroom with her mother, who is very ill
Wash your hands.
and who is on oxygen.
It's okay.
Look at the little girl crying, poor little baby.
Immature.
And he's refusing. He's taking his sweet
Love
time.
children.
I have 2 girls washing their hands.
You let this lady, this woman is she's a woman. She can bring her daughters in here. She's a manager at the QT.
I'm their
You can
dad.
ask her. I understand. If you don't have any business, bring her into the women's bathroom.
They're girls.
Worried about
They
it.
go to the women's bathroom.
As soon as he leaves the women's bathroom, I will. I'm standing in the doorway. He's taking his own sweet time. Hey, sweetheart. This is ridiculous, man. I am so sorry.
That's okay. Some men are just immature.
At least the lady's being nice about it. His old self, I think he was up to something. Low down, dirty.
Dry your hands off. You dry your hands? All right, come on. Hold my hand.
The gray shirt. You can video me, okay? And you got
Don't
a
put your
shirt
hands
on.
on me.
Yeah, well, stop videoing me.
Yeah, he
then.
just put his hands on me.
I touched you.
Operator.
I brushed you on the shirt.
That's still touching.
Yeah,
me.
You're gonna touch that man because the man's video recording him. See, some of these folk like him, and it always be the Karens, the male and the females. These are the ones that be the racist ones. I want you to pay attention, and you can tell that they're the ones that are racist because they're just nasty persons, people. Period. Okay, they have very nasty dispositions. Okay, they're rude to other people. Now, if it was us, they'll be racist, ready to call us the N-word. But I'm just saying, these racist folk, they're very nasty and mean-spirited in general. That's because their hearts are filled with hate. Let's continue.
That's
Don't put your hands
ridiculous.
on me.
That's ridiculous.
I got it on video.
He's a white man. He's about 5'10".
Snitching. See,
I'm gonna
serious.
get here soon.
I know. She's trying to get into the women's bathroom, and she can't. He's out now. He's standing
Yeah, this
here
guy making a
videoing
big
me.
deal about me taking my
obnoxiously,
little girls.
justifying what he's doing.
Look at
the
these little
woman's
girls.
restroom.
They are so cute.
He wants me to take them to the men's restroom.
I'm just standing here.
Probably a weirdo that wants to see them in there. Are they coming down here? Do I need to stay down
The police are
here?
on the way. Yes.
Do I need to speak to them?
No, you can come and talk to them right here.
Because I'm on a road trip trying to get home.
We're on a road trip too, and I couldn't get enough.
On a road trip trying to get home with his babies, and this man sitting here trying to cause problems, calling the darn police. For what? He was better than me because I would have cursed his behind out. I would have took my children. Well, I wouldn't have cursed them out in front of the kids. They're too little. But nonetheless, I wouldn't have been telling him I'm going to sit here and wait for the police to come when I need to get back on the road. He's just causing problems for no good reason. That's right, Sierra. It's not that serious. Yeah, granted, he literally called the police. Okay, and they can't, people like him, honey, they can't wait to see a black person who looks suspicious. And you don't even have to actually look suspicious, because what does suspicious look like? But isn't that what a lot of racist white folk love to tell black people? Oh, you just look suspicious. Well, you look suspicious too. As far as I'm concerned, you look like a wanted supremacist. Okay, quite frankly, you look like a Klansman. Okay, a white nationalist. Okay, please. So you damn sure look suspicious to me. Okay, you look like the usual suspect. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. But I just thought that was so idiotic. Okay, it was just so foolish to me. All right, let's continue. Honey, the Asians are mad. They're out here calling black folk racist. Now, I want you all to think about something. Hey, black airmen, beloved, I want you all to think about something. The Asians are out here having the audacity, dare I say, to call us a racist. So because we don't want to spend money with them, we have to be all of that? And now, are they trying to shame us? What do they do? What are they doing here? Do you all have a clue? Like, what's going on? What is their motive? Okay, what does their motive means? And what are they up to by calling us racist? Are we supposed to start crying and then just say, oh, okay, we're going to come back? I mean, what is the point? Okay, now we're racist. I find it interesting because you know what that is? It's nothing but projection, because the real racists are them. And I'm not talking about all of them, but many of them are racist, and that's why they are where they are right now. Okay, that's why Rick Chow shot Cyrus, because of racism and hate. Okay? These people have a whole lot of damn nerve. I'm really getting sick and tired of these people effing around with black folk. But let's continue. I'll tell y'all the truth. Let's get into it.
Now, the hottest topic on the news right now is Karmelo Anthony. And what's behind Karmelo Anthony is politics. See, this was a game that was being played by higher ups because they want a race war. But then not only that, let me put y'all on some more game. They are having so many issues in Frisco, in the Collin County period, that Karmelo Anthony is not even a big part of it. What it is, they needed to divert our energy towards Karmelo Anthony because Juneteenth is coming up. Now, they finna use our energy to project whatever BS that they always trying to project, because they owe some demonic demons some energy that they can't present, right? So, guys, that's what's going on right now. But not only that, so let me put you on some more game. So, even with this going on, I want to thank all my white peers, my Caucasian peers, my European peers, my African peers, my Indian peers, my Mexican peers. I want to thank y'all, because what you failed to realize that y'all wasn't doing, you start bringing us together. Y'all start bringing us together spiritually. This is what you should be afraid of. But, oh, I'm not done. This is to Jeff Metcalf. I see you get on here and you got your chest out. You beating on the chest like the Neanderthal that you are. But there was one little bitty thing that you should have learned about our culture. There's another realm of spiritually that is fighting for Karmelo Anthony that you can't see. So I know y'all ain't sleeping at night. Your son ain't sleeping at night. Your ex-wife ain't sleeping at night. And you ain't sleeping at night. And them judge and juries not sleeping at night. All of them, baby. You think y'all playing a race card? You need to understand, from a spiritual point of view, this is deeper than your flesh. In the Bible, it says the war is not with flesh and blood, but the principalities in high places. Our ancestors are on y'all ass. So we're not going to have to fight. We finna sit this one out. Oh, Karmelo Anthony is going to be all right. And for y'all that got a hit out on them, just be mindful. Be careful what you mess with, because that child is anointed. See, did y'all think we didn't know? See, you already knew the background and the history of him. You know about his bloodline. You think I didn't know that? Oh, yeah, I knew, because you've been watching him for years. You needed this time and this place to come into fruition, because guess what? At this time, this man, y'all trying to portray him as Jesus. See, y'all trying to beat him down and destroy him because y'all tried to crucify him. But be careful who you crucify. We're not in the 1900s no more, baby. This 2020. Really, this 1026. See, back then it was J. Hold on. When y'all was messing with us, it was J880, J8801, or however that shit go. I know it was J, it wasn't a 1. Well, now we're in the 1000, not the 2000, because remember, it even said in the book that y'all would change dates and times. So you ain't really ahead of anything, but the entities that y'all were fucking with, that y'all owe money to, that y'all owe energy to, that y'all owe blood sacrifices to, get ready, because you can't pay them. We too ahead of the game, baby. Our ancestors are doing their thing. They working. That's the part you don't know. When y'all up there, y'all up here how? We out here on the front line. We ain't gotta shed no blood. We ain't gotta have no guns. We only have to put out the energy that needs to be, and we send it to the ancestors. We send it to the Orishas. We send it to the ancestors. We send it to the beings that fuck with us. Them fallen angels that y'all been fucking with, they told you they were gonna help y'all. You think I don't know about the book? You think I don't know about the book of Solomon, Greater and Lesser Keys? Oh, that's what y'all been playing with us with? Y'all been using this Moorish shit? But the Moorish should have told y'all not to fuck with us. I already know what game you playing. I already know what side you on. So this might go.
This lady is something else, okay? She is so hilarious to me. Look, Chrissy said the ancestors working overtime, honey, aren't they?
Over a lot of people's head. But these ancestors is on y'all ass. So karma is a mother. Not only that, you might want to look into the book. What is it called? There is a book out here that you might want to look into. I don't even want to give you the name of it, because it tell you how this works, especially when you're doing innocent people wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called the Kabbalah. I think you might want to go read the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah gonna educate you on what you just did was the worst mistake of y'all life. Between you and the judges and the jurors and all of them, the biggest mistake you made was framing that boy for some ill-gotten shit that y'all have. You think that y'all gonna get power back? Baby, you will never get power back. Like the Bible say, we are the beginning and the end. We are the Alphas and the Omegas. You just heard that part.
Not that part.
Careful conditioning. Someone who looks like me. If the races were reversed, the verdicts would be reversed. I'm going to say that one more time. If the races were reversed, the verdicts would be reversed. And I know a lot of you don't need to hear this. You already know it. But there are definitely some of you right now who immediately are having a reflexive, knee-jerk reaction to me saying that. You're already opening up the comments and writing your reasons why I'm wrong. And that's because you have been carefully conditioned and trained to reflexively defend white supremacy without even knowing it. That's the thing. What you're doing right now, that reflexive knee-jerk response that you're having, that you're not even able to control, that is the result of careful conditioning. You have been conditioned to defend white supremacy. And what I need you to do is slow down and actually engage with what I just told you. If the races were reversed, the verdicts would be reversed.
Okay, C-Stan says no lies detected. Thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, I saw someone in the chat say they had no sound. Someone please tell them to go out and come back in. I would say, but they probably can't hear me. It's Sounds Bantu. Okay, Sounds Bantu says I'm not getting any sound. So please tell them to go out and try coming back in. Okay, that should fix it.
That tape out. Actually in
Hold on. I'm sorry. Emperor Rex said read Dion Fortune. Emperor Rex, what do you know about Dion Fortune? Okay, that is very interesting. Anyway, let's continue. That's a psychic from back in the day. Like, I have a book that she wrote in the 30s. It was given to me by a lady that I met named Sister Tanya. This lady just came up and met me and told me she was a psychic and said that she knew I was too. Anyway, she gave me that book. She said it's for psychic for psychic protection or for when you have psychic attacks, which are basically spiritual attacks, how to protect yourselves. But anyway, let me continue. I'm going off on a whole nother rant.
Engage with that thought experiment. Don't just tell me all the reasons why it went down the way it went down. Don't give me your armchair legal expertise opinion on it. Just play out the simple thought experiment of flipping the races and tell me I'm wrong. Teenage boy named Anthony Carlson, let's say, just somebody I'm making up. White boy named Anthony Carlson gets cornered by two black boys. He says to the boys, "Don't touch me again or something bad's gonna happen." And they advance and push him. Pulls a knife out, stabs one of them, kills him, runs away. That white boy is now on trial, and he says, "I feared for my life. I was scared. I told them, please don't. I told them, don't touch me again or something bad's gonna happen. They didn't listen. I had to defend myself." You are telling me they're charging that kid with murder and giving him 35 years? You're not being honest if that's what you're saying. You know the outcome of that trial. You know that kid is skating to self-defense. Now let's talk about Rick Chow. What the fuck are we even talking about? 14-year-old kid walks into your store, you say, take the backpack off because you're already racially profiling the kid, already saying you look like the kind of person who would steal from us. He complies, takes his backpack off, leaves it at the front of the store. Then on his way out, you go, "You stole water." He didn't. You're wrong. You're just being racist. You start chasing him. He runs away because he's a kid. He's also got a gun on him, and he knows that that doesn't look good, so he runs. He doesn't confront you with the gun. He just runs for his life, and you shoot him in the back, and the jury says self-defense. Let's say it's a white kid. White kid, black store owner. You know that store owner's going to prison for murder. You know that. But let's say that it's an Asian kid, black store owner. This is not an indictment of any, this isn't like pitting anybody against each other. This is just being honest. In sports, this happens all the time, where all day long in a basketball game, the refs will watch one team body check another team and not call a foul. And so the teams go, "I guess that's not a foul in this game." The refs aren't calling that a foul. And then at the end of the game, with the game on the line, the refs call a weak foul with a little bit of a body check at the rim on the other team. And the coach comes up and says, "Hey, I just want to know, what is it? Is a little bump with the chest, is that a foul or not? Because all night long, you've been saying no. But now when we did it with the game on the line in the most clutch moment, you said yes." And all we're asking for is consistency. So that's why I don't need your armchair legal opinion. I just need you to engage with the thought experiment of, is this consistent? It's just over and over and over again. Kyle Rittenhouse, give me a fucking break, dude. You're already going to jump in the comments and tell me why Kyle Rittenhouse was actually self-defense. I'm telling you, flip the script. Black teenager walking down the street with an assault rifle, and a white kid comes up to him with a skateboard because he feels threatened by the gun, and the black teenager turns and shoots the white kid dead. That black teenager isn't even going to trial. We don't even have to answer the question like, is he getting off with self-defense? He's not making it to trial. He's getting murdered by the cops that night. I mean, look at this fucking quote from Kyle Rittenhouse to Newsweek saying, "The same people who were screaming self-defense about Karmelo Anthony were calling me a racist murderer for shooting 3 people dead. The difference is, Kyle, they gave you self-defense. They gave it to you. You were acquitted. What we're saying is, can it be called the same way? We want self-defense for Karmelo because that's what you got. Why is it self-defense when you shoot 3 people, but not self-defense when he stabs 1? Kyle Rittenhouse, along with, I'm sure, a bunch of other chuds right now in my comments, are running face first into the point without realizing it. Consistency is the point, Kyle. Consistency is what we're asking for. If you get to stand your ground in a city that you were not from, carrying a gun that you brought across state lines to defend property that you did not own, then he should get to stand his ground as well. We just need to call it the same way, and we never, ever fucking do. And if you're in my comments right now trying to tell me why I'm wrong, you're just proving my point. And the fact that you don't realize you're proving my point makes me want to put your fucking head through a wall. You're just reflexively defending white supremacy because that's what you've been conditioned to do. But sit with it. Actually think about it. Daniel Penny kills Jordan Neely on the subway. Jordan Neely is having a mental health episode. Daniel Penny panics and goes, I guess I need to end this man's life. Anybody that actually rides the New York subway on a day-to-day basis knows that people are having mental health episodes thousands of times a day, every single day. If everybody was Daniel Penny, there would be thousands of murders every single day in the New York subway system. But thank God, not everybody is Daniel Penny. Flip the races in that story. Black man sees a white man going through something tough, having a tough mental health day on the train, decides, I'm gonna choke this man to death because he's scaring me. And tell me that man's not going to prison for the rest of his life for murder. See, the problem is way too many of you get bogged down in these little details about the case. You search for evidence that things aren't what they clearly are. You're like, no, on day 3, the prosecutor asked this question. No, in day 14 of the trial, when so-and-so was on the stand and they said that thing, that's what made it meet the legal standard for, and you don't realize that none of that fucking matters. All you're doing is looking for reasons to justify a clearly prejudicial, clearly imbalanced justice system. And all you really have to do is just ask yourself the simple question, is it being called the same both ways? Flip the races, would it have been the same way? Would it have gone down the same way? And you know, 99 times out of 100, the answer is absolutely not. So what the fuck are we even talking about? Why are we still doing this? I'm not telling you anything new. I'm not breaking new ground here. I'm just fucking tired.
Shout out to him for that. I'm tired too, but let's talk about what he was saying, okay? Let's talk about what he was saying about this flipping the roles or whatever. So we already know how that would pan out. And just like he said, if we were to go by the logic that Daniel Penny used, there's crazy people with mental health issues on the subway every day, all day. Okay, there's always some on there with some sort of mental health issue. Okay, I was in New York for the Diddy trial for like 2.5 months, or at least 2 months, and I rode the subway sometimes, and there was absolutely always someone or other who had a mental health issue. So just imagine if people just took it upon themselves, people who think like Daniel Penny, and just started choking them out and killing them because they thought they were going to do something. Okay, what is that called? Proactive, like Trump says, a preemptive strike. What is that? Preemptive? Is that what it is? I have several questions. But anywho, hold on. You be riding white people ish hard, so-called queen. Ali Smith. What do you mean riding them hard? Hold on. Let's get into it. Now, Ali Smith, what are you talking about? I be riding them hard. That was a white guy talking. I'm just listening, just like you were. What are you talking about here? Huh? What are you talking about? You mad because I play videos with y'all talking about your own selves? Telling the truth about your own selves? What's the deal here? Do I need to drop you the link? Because I got time today in case you missed it. What are you talking about, so-called queen? No, I am the queen. Okay? Whether you like it or not. You want me to drop you the link? Let me do that. Then you can get up here and let us all know how you really feel. Because I'm tired of y'all trolls coming in here. If you don't like what's being said, why are you here? You want to cause disruption? You need our attention? Well, we're about to give it to you. There's the link, and please do click it. I'm not going to block you. I want you to click that link while I sit here and wait. Robert says that young man was homeless and crying out for help, and got choked out. Yes, he had not eaten all that day and probably the next day or the day before. And so, that's what it was. Said I'm always riding white people. First of all, no, I don't. Okay, that's what I don't do. I'm just playing the facts. Now, that's that man's opinion. That's how he feels. And if I happen to like his video, yes, I'm going to play it. But funny thing is, you said I'm riding white people, and it was a white guy talking. So what you have to say about that? Still ain't clicking that link? Feel free to click it anytime you get froggy. All right, because I promise you it's not going to turn out how you think. Okay, we know how this goes. So let me just say this. Let's talk about what he was saying for a moment. Now, he was talking about if the roles were reversed. The fact of the matter is, if the roles were reversed, we already know how that would turn out. You let a black person chase down a child that isn't black, because if it's a black child, they really won't care. But if you chase down a white child specifically, an Asian child or whatever, and shoot them in the back because you thought they were stealing, and then you say, oh, they had a gun. Even if they had a gun, you're still going to jail. And here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. Now, the reason they were able to, or not the reason they were able to, the thing is, the reason why a lot of these racist devils are out here saying stuff about Cyrus and acting as though he deserved it is because they said Cyrus had a gun. That's what Rick Chow and his nefarious son said. They said he had a gun. Now, I don't know if he did or not, but here's the thing. If he did have a gun, let's just check it like this. Let's say if Cyrus had taken his gun out as soon as they started running towards him and just start firing at them and killed them. Would he be able to say that that was self-defense? Of course not. Of course not. They would be doing the same thing they're doing with Karmelo, saying, oh, he didn't know what they were going to do to him. He didn't have any reason to be afraid. Why would he use deadly force? That's the kind of BS they would say. Okay, that's the kind of BS they would say. And did it ever occur to them that even if they were chasing him on the length of a football field, did they not think that maybe he was scared? Okay, and maybe if he did have a gun, that's why he pulled it out. But see, here's the problem. They don't want black people to own guns. Anytime a black person has a gun, you're always going to be the culprit. You're always going to be the villain in the story, even if you're dead. You won't be the victim. You'll be the culprit, the villain, okay? The usual suspect. Oh, they look suspicious. That's what they do. They demonize black people all the time. Black people, if you're able to and you don't have a felony on your status, make sure you go out and get a gun. Get 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as you can get, since they don't want us to have them. Okay, that's what you do. Because I find it all interesting that anytime it's mentioned that a black person had a gun, they're always demonized. But white people walk around in broad daylight carrying AK-47s, walking up in Dunkin' Donuts. Y'all remember that video that I showed you all? Y'all remember that video that I showed you all? But then a black man was walking down the street. Now, he was just doing a test because he was telling his white friend that, hey, you can walk down the street freely with your gun out in the open. It's a right to carry state. Okay, he said, but if I do that and I have a gun license, the police are still going to stop me. And he went out there with his AK-40 or his AR-15, and he was walking down the street. And as soon as the police saw him, they jumped out of their SUV, pulled a gun on him. Put your hands up. Get out on the ground. That's how they do black people. Now, they didn't think to say, excuse me, sir, is there a reason you have the gun out? Or, sir, do you have a license to carry that? No. That's all they had to say. Sir, do you have a license to carry? He could have shown them that and the ID and been on his way. But no, get on the ground. That's what they want to do. They want to intimidate you to make you feel as though you can't carry a gun. That's why I'm going to buy every damn gun I can when I can. Okay, please pay attention. I have several. So miss me with it. Okay, miss me with it. All right, whatever you don't want me to do, I'm going to do it twice, at least. So, yeah, that's what that is, okay? Because Cyrus had a gun, so they say, so it's okay to kill him, even though he's facing away from you because he was shot in the back? Okay? Danger said it's a dangerous experiment. Yeah, it is, because they absolutely, I was scared for it watching the video. But yeah, you're right, it is a dangerous, it's sad that it's dangerous, though, when you're in a place where you can carry guns, okay? But they don't even ask black people because they don't care. You see, all of these racist devils, and that includes some of the police, okay, many of them, what they want to do is have an excuse to kill black people, okay? That's all they want to do is have an excuse to kill black people, okay? Please pay attention. That's the thing, okay? They'll look for any reason. Now, with that all been said, let's go to, oh, hold on. Let me just tell you all something else, too. Let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, okay, for a second. You see, now, mind you, Cyrus was being chased, okay, and then he was shot and killed. Now, they say he had a gun. He was only 14. He wasn't old enough to be carrying a gun. What was he doing with it? I don't know. Maybe he thought he needed protection. Okay? Maybe he lived in a bad area. Who knows? If he actually had one, maybe that's why. But here's the thing that I do know. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't old enough either. He was 17 and he was carrying a gun. Now, mind you, they said that Kyle Rittenhouse was being chased. Let's talk about it. Kyle Rittenhouse was chased by individuals during the protest and unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, August 25th of 2020. Now, mind you, he was being chased. So that gave him the wherewithal to turn around. So they say, because they said this was clearly self-defense, and he was found innocent, even though he was in possession of an illegal weapon that he wasn't supposed to have, brought it across state lines, okay? Even more charges that he should have gotten. But nevertheless, he has the complexion for protection. So after he murdered 36-year-old Joseph Rosenbaum, okay, and the white people didn't care when he died either, because they probably felt like, what the hell was he doing at a Black Lives Matter protest? Okay, trying to help the Negroes. Yeah, it's okay, he's dead. That's how they felt about it, because they dogged that poor man after he died. And also Anthony Hubbard, the other person who had the skateboard. So he shot and killed him as well. Now that's two people that this devil murdered. Okay, that's two people that devil murdered. Okay, they were afraid of him, because what the hell is he doing out there with that big ass gun is what they were probably thinking. And then also probably thinking this is a Black Lives Matter protest. He's probably coming out here to kill Black people. So they were just trying to help, clearly. But he murdered them. Now, did he have to kill him? No. Okay, he didn't have to, but nobody told him that when he was in court. Okay, the jury didn't worry about that. It was all well and fine. They didn't care about his age, that the gun was purchased illegally, and he went across state lines, but they didn't care about any of that. They didn't say he was looking for trouble. Okay, he came there with an AR-15 underage, drove across state lines, and they never said he was looking for trouble. But somehow Karmelo Anthony is at a track meet where he's supposed to be, two thugs raised by a no-good father who beats their mother, okay, and taught them to be bullies and hateful. They come and approach him, but he's the one that was looking for trouble. See how that story goes? But hold on, let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about this. I know many of you probably don't remember this, but this story happened December the 22nd of 1984. And I read about this. There should be a documentary or a movie about it. But there was a man named Bernard Getz, okay? A white man. They call him the subway vigilante. So on December the 22nd of 1984, he shot and killed 4 Black teenagers on a moving New York City subway in Manhattan. Claiming, mind you, claiming is the key word, because we don't know if he's telling the truth or a lie. And I never thought he was telling the truth after I read the story. Says that he shot them, okay, and said that he claimed they were trying to rob him. Said they were attempting to rob him. Now listen to this. Here's the details of the case and its aftermath. Now, while riding a downtown train, 4 youths approached Gates and asked him for $5. I'm sure only one of them asked, because I know all 4 of them didn't ask him for $5. But anyway, so one of them asked him for $5. Now they say Gates, or Goetz, however you say his name, is Goetz. So anyway, they say that he had previously been mugged. He drew an unlicensed handgun, unlicensed, do y'all hear this? And fired 5 shots. All 4 men were wounded. He then fled the scene, but turned himself into police in New Hampshire 9 days later. Now, during his trial in 1987, he successfully argued self-defense. A Manhattan jury acquitted him of attempted murder and assault charges. Okay, they lived. I thought they died. But anywho, but convicted him of illegally carrying a firearm, for which he served 8 months of a 1-year sentence. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Now, listen. You see how that worked out? This white man on a subway, just like Daniel Penny, huh? He shot 4 Black teenagers. He claimed that they were trying to rob him because they asked him for $5. One of them did. Here's the thing. When somebody wants to rob you, I don't think they ask you for the money, okay? Just the word to the wise, okay? I don't think they ask you for the money. I think they take it. Okay, so that was all BS, just like I thought. But anywho, goes on to say the incident sparked a massive national debate about vigilantism, gun control, and race relations as the public was deeply divided over whether Gates was a hero defending himself or an attacker using excessive racial violence. Well, that's of course what he was, the latter, an attacker using excessive racial violence. But you know, he was a hero to them, and they called him, they dubbed him the subway vigilante. Isn't that something? Him and Daniel Penny, I want y'all to pay attention, honey. When these low down, dirty, racist devils kill a black person, they are heroes. Or when they injure a black person, you know, one of those young men was paralyzed, just so you know. Okay, just so you know. Baby, I'm going to tell you like this. Ooh, honey, if one of those had been either one of my sons, honey, he wouldn't have had to worry about a trial, is all I'm going to say. I would. Okay, I would have. Now, with that all being said, I want y'all to pay attention because that's how it goes down. That's just how it goes. So now let's talk about Cyrus again, because this guy did a video about him. Right. Danger said, may I please rob you of your money? Exactly. Who's going to ask you for $5 when they're about to rob you? And then pay attention to how they tried to soften it by saying, oh, you know, he'd been previously mugged before. Okay, so now seeing 4 black people on the subway, that makes him think they're going to mug him. Well, why didn't he just wait before pulling out his gun and firing 5 shots? Why didn't he just wait to see if they were going to try something? How about that? Okay. Or better yet, like they told Karmelo, why didn't he just leave? If he thought they were going to rob him, why didn't he just get his butt off the train? Did they ask him that? Of course they didn't, because it's always us that is supposed to bow down and cower. Okay? That's what that is. Please pay attention. Anyway, let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you.
All right, this is probably going to be a different video than what anybody else has put out. But basically, it's in regard to what Rick Chow and his son Andy Chow did when they was chasing Cyrus Belton in South Carolina. So basically, long story short, because most people already heard about this 14-year-old kid runs from a store that he did not steal at, all right? But anyway, so he's an innocent kid running from a grown man and his son. And they're claiming after they were chasing him with a loaded weapon that he got, he turned around and pointed a gun at him and then he shot him. Okay. All right. So here's my thoughts. You guys tell me what you think. So, well, I ain't gonna talk about if they're right or wrong. They're dead wrong. All right. And if anybody disagrees with that, you're absolutely just a straight piece of shit. It's worse than racist. And you guys are just dog shit people. Like, it's bad. Like, you're racist and demonized, whatever the hell else you are. That's what you are. But ask yourself this. People are saying it's wrong, and the courts ruled that it was fine, okay? They obviously ruled it was fine because they got off of self-defense. But here's the question. Here's the situation everybody's missing, all right? This is what's being missed, all right? So everybody has the right to strap themselves, assuming that you got the legal right to bear arms, right? So it's a law. You can carry a gun, all right? So what if the message, I'm not saying this, but think about this hypothetically. What if the message was somebody that had a shitload of followers? What if their message was this? Abide by the law. You probably wonder, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? He didn't do anything wrong. No, he didn't do it. Abide by the law. What does that mean? Think about that for a minute. Because everybody's saying how wrong it was. They're arguing about that. But what if somebody's message was abide by the law? And what does that mean? What if they're saying this? What if somebody said this to you? How do you think the government will feel about this? If somebody said this, do you think a change will come? If they said abide by the law and somebody said, what does that mean? And that person with all them followers said, well, if it's okay for Rick Chow and Andy Chow to chase a fucking kid that committed no crime just because their ignorant asses thought he did something wrong, okay? What if they said, well, if it's good for them, it's good for all of us. What if the message was, find any fucking kid you want and just accuse them of doing something wrong and chase them? At some fucking point, some kid's gonna get hit by a fucking car. Some kid's gonna try to defend themselves because they should have every fucking right to defend themselves. Even if that boy would have pulled out 15 fucking guns and pointed it at him, he had every right to. And then you would have talked about, well, he had a weapon. Who gives a fuck? You can deal with the weapons charge later. But he had every right to defend himself from a fucking grown man chasing him and that kid. But let's just say, let's not even argue about that. What if the person said to you, they had all these followers, well, let's just start chasing kids ourselves. How do you think that that would be taken by everybody? Would they be mad? The same people that think it was okay for Rick Child to do what he did, would they be mad if somebody said, well, if it's good for them, then it's good for us? Do you think they would be mad by someone sending that message? Why? Here's the question. Why would they be mad? If you think it's okay for what they did, then why wouldn't it be okay for everybody to do the same thing? What if everybody just said, fuck it? I'm in the mood to just start chasing some fucking kids. All I got to do is think they're doing something wrong and just say, fuck it, they did something wrong. And I start chasing them. How would that be taken? And if you are for what Rick Child did, if you are for that and think he did nothing wrong, and you have a problem with somebody that would be saying that, then ask yourself, why would you have a problem? Why would you have a problem?
Yeah. Honey, they'd have a problem because they're just racist, okay? That's the bottom line. Okay, so now let's talk about this article that came out when they're trying to say that Karmelo and this whole trial and situation and verdict is the reason that America has been split. But here's what I want to say to that. When was America ever united? Okay, I don't even know why they call it the United States. Let's talk about it. And then here's what some of the racist people will say when they try to gaslight and deflect and project all at the same time. They'll say, oh, you guys are being divisive. Divisive how? I know damn well the people who had segregation are not in Jim Crow. Okay, who had slavery? I know darn well y'all are not trying to say we're being divisive. Like, sit down somewhere. This country has always been divided and always will be as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Always will. Another racially charged verdict has split Americans. Here's the real scandal. Now, this came out today. Okay, so listen to this. Sign up for the Slatest to get the most insightful analysis, criticism, and advice. Yeah, we'll be the ones to determine that after we read this nefarious article. Okay, I don't know who wrote this. Let me see. I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of my people, or they wouldn't have been talking about Robin Nicole Sanders. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of my people, or they wouldn't be talking about divisive. Okay, so anyway, long before the jury rendered its guilty verdict in the Karmelo Anthony case, there was reason to question whether the trial had already gone off the constitutional guardrails. Okay, the case, which concluded last week in a conviction for first-degree murder, has generated exactly the sort of fierce debate, outrage, celebration, and anguish that high-profile criminal trials often produce. Every significant criminal case eventually becomes a vessel into which the country pours its anxieties, fears, loyalties, and grievances. People see the same facts and emerge with entirely different stories. That is neither new nor surprising. Well, of course not. The details of this case and the central factual questions are not what's remarkable. People may dispute whether the then 17-year-old Anthony acted in self-defense when he stabs unarmed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf to death at a track meet. Now, these sorts of legal skirmishes happen all the time in this country. What is remarkable is that after nearly a century and a half of Supreme Court decisions condemning racial discrimination in jury selection, after generations of litigation, after Batson versus Kentucky, after countless judicial pronouncements declaring that race has no place in the selection of jurors, we are still arguing about whether Black citizens were excluded from a jury because they were Black. That is a scandal. Yeah, and let me tell you what some of the racists are saying. They're trying to say that black people weren't chosen for the jury because they all said that they couldn't be unbiased. Honey, only one man said that, allegedly. Okay, because I don't even know if he even said it. I didn't hear him, but it was reported that only one man said that. And if you ask me if he actually said it, he just didn't want to be on jury duty. People say anything to get off jury duty. Please. That's what they do. Now, goes on to say, according to reports from the trial, defense counsel objected after prosecutors struck the final 3 remaining black prospective jurors from the veneer. Okay, ultimately, there was not a single black juror. The state reportedly responded that the jurors were removed because they were educators. The trial court accepted this explanation. Now, the exchange, as reported, captures in a miniature one of the oldest, I think it should say minutes because miniature doesn't even go with this, but anywho, okay, one of the oldest constitutional failures in American life. It reveals a wound so old that Americans have almost grown accustomed to it, a wound that has survived Reconstruction, Jim Crow, segregation, the Civil Rights Movement, and nearly 4 decades of Batson jurisprudence. Now, the history of excluding Black Americans from juries is often described as though it were merely a chapter in the chronicle of criminal law. That understates the matter dramatically. Now, the struggle over jury service is a struggle over citizenship itself. The generations that systematically excluded Black Americans from jury boxes understood that a jury is one of the few institutions in American life through which ordinary citizens exercise direct governmental power. Jurors decide whether the state has met its burden. Jurors decide whether liberty will be taken. Jurors decide whether the immense machinery of prosecution and punishment will continue forward or come to a halt. The jury is where the people themselves enter the administration of justice. Now, that is precisely why Black Americans were excluded. That exclusion was not some unfortunate byproduct of a flawed system. It was deliberate because the architects of racial hierarchy understood exactly what jury service represented. A society cannot plausibly claim that a people are equal citizens while simultaneously denying them participation in one of the institutions through which law is administered. The jury box represented power, and power was precisely what Black Americans were not supposed to possess. Y'all hear this? This article was clearly written by a Black person. I have to recant my prior statement. Now, the Supreme Court recognized the constitutional obscenity of that arrangement as early as Strouder versus West Virginia in 1880. Again and again, over the course of nearly a century and a half, courts have acknowledged that discrimination in jury selection inflicts injuries that extend far beyond any individual defendant. Excluded jurors suffer an injury because they have been denied equal participation in one of the central obligations of citizenship. Civic communities suffer an injury because public confidence in the administration of justice is eroded. The court themselves suffer an injury because a legal system that distributes participation according to race cannot credibly claim to embody equal justice under the law. The history of racial discrimination in jury selection is not the history of a problem that disappeared. It is the history of a problem that adapted. Now, when explicit racial exclusions become unconstitutional, facially neutral explanations take their place. Now, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. They know darn well they're supposed to have you judged by a jury of your peers. And so they know that if there's no one on the jury that looks like you, that is not your peers. Okay? That is not your peers at the end of the day. And they know that. Now, it goes on to say that the reason is obvious, painfully obvious. The Constitution forbids racial discrimination in jury selection. Okay, a prosecutor who wished to discriminate against Black jurors after Batson would therefore have every incentive not to describe the strike in racial terms, a dynamic that may have been at work in the Anthony case. Of course it was. See, he's not going to say, oh, we don't want them because they're Black, because he knows he can't do that. So he's going to say because they're educators. Okay, please pay attention. Now, following Batson, the discrimination necessarily speaks a different language. And so courts find themselves engaged in a peculiar exercise. A black juror is struck. An objection is raised. A race-neutral explanation is offered. The explanation is evaluated. The trial proceeds. But the question is not whether an explanation can be offered. The question is whether it should be believed. The entire point of a Batson is the recognition that discrimination frequently disguises itself. Well, of course it does. I mean, we still have the same stuff going on since Jim Crow. They just call it something different, like I've been telling you all. To boot, the issue under Batson, as probably understood, is not whether a prosecutor is a racist. It is whether race played a role in the strike. Now, those are profoundly different inquiries, yet courts frequently behave as though sustaining a Batson challenge requires a judicial declaration that an officer of the court harbors racial animus. Now, many judges recoil from that conclusion, and the constitutional inquiry becomes personal. Suddenly, the focus is no longer on the excluded black juror, the defendant's right to a fair trial, or the public reputation of a legal system soured by this practice. None of that is the issue. Okay, rather, the focus becomes whether a prosecutor should bear the stigma associated with a finding of discrimination. Batson was intended to expose constitutional violations. Too often, it has become a mechanism for avoiding the discomfort of acknowledging them. Well, who's discomforted? It's definitely not us. It has to be the other folk. So that is why the explanation offered in the Karmelo Anthony case matters. Not because teachers cannot be struck from juries. Okay, of course they can. Not because every strike against an educator is suspicious. Of course it isn't. The concern arises because constitutional scrutiny is supposed to begin where the explanation begins, not in there. Now, if the final 3 remaining black prospective jurors were removed because they were educators, it is reasonable for one to ask whether non-black educators were treated similarly, whether the rationale was applied consistently, why only 3 black prospective jurors remained at that stage of the process, and whether the explanation reflects genuine concern or convenient justification. Batson was never intended to allow courts to stop asking questions the moment an explanation appears. North Carolina knows this story particularly well. Okay, now they just get into too much. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of this. The bottom line is, okay, I didn't know this article was so long, honey, but here's the bottom line. Listen, it is safe for me to assume, in my opinion, that of course they were struck because they were black. It had nothing to do with them being educators, because we already know by now that there was someone who was non-black on the jury and they were an educator too. Okay, so what's the deal? Okay, I think we all know what it is. And at the end of the day, when we saw that there was no black people on the jury, we already should have known that it was going to be a guilty verdict. Okay, they were setting the stages for it right then and there. That's what they were doing. That's exactly what they were doing. Okay, now we're going to get into some more of this stuff about the Asians. But before we do, did y'all know how mad these people are down there about this baby being shot? And I don't blame them. They're out there protesting right now. I do believe. I'm going to go to the footage in just a moment.
That if you see someone steal diapers, baby formula, clothes, food in general, or water, no the fuck you didn't. So the fact that cops were even called because someone stole diapers is absolutely fucking absurd. Not only was there absolutely no reason to call the fucking cops, there was absolutely no goddamn reason that that cop should have been shooting into that fucking car. And there is absolutely no way that we could reform our way out of this. We need to fucking abolish the fucking cops at this point.
Yeah, I have to agree with him. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. They didn't steal. Okay, they didn't steal anything, though. The lady paid for it. Okay, the lady paid for it. She posted her receipts. Let's continue. And even if she had stolen, like he said, who snitched? Okay, who told them that? And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I want you all to pay attention because I guarantee you, whoever called the police and lied and told them that lady stole those Pampers, diapers, whatever, I guarantee you it was some Karen. Okay, and at the end of the day, they had to have seen her pay for it because the last place you are before you walk out of the door of Walmart is at the register. Okay, so how did they even think that she stole it? I think, let me just tell y'all something. Y'all do remember a few years ago when the Karens and the female and the male Karens were trying to get black people shot by the police. Y'all do remember that, right? But they kept calling 911 because you're at the park barbecuing, 911 because you're walking into a building, 911 because you're at the pool. These were all attempts for them to get you murked by the police. And let's not forget Central Park Karen. Y'all remember her, right? The black man, Christian Cooper, who was out there bird watching, and she was out there with her dog, and all he did was tell her that her dog wasn't supposed to be in the Rumble, which is a part of Central Park, and she got so mad, she called the police and lied and said, there's a black man attacking me. He's African American. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? At the end of the day, that's what this is. When they're calling the police on you for frivolous reasons, you're not really doing anything. That's what it is. Because they know when the police come and see a black person, they just might pull out their gun and shoot you. They know this. Okay, so whoever called the police on that lady, okay, after she paid for those Pampers, they knew that. You want to think they didn't? Probably tried to get her shot, and now her child is gone.
Deeper dive into this Cohen Wiley situation, the 1-year-old black child that was shot by the police. I did a real deep dive. And when I mean deep dive, I had to go find videos. I had to go find non-major news outlet sources to figure out the mom had a receipt that she showed. She showed the receipt on live. Not only did she show the receipt, I saw footage now, and I'm reneging on what I said in that video. So it's the cops' fault. There's 3 things that are true. The prosecuting attorney's office for where this occurred at has not charged the mother with theft. She had the receipt. So that 1-year-old boy died because the cops assumed she stole the diapers. Her being at fear for her life, drove away from the cops, didn't drive towards the police. So she hasn't been charged with assault. She hasn't been charged with theft. She hasn't been charged with shit. That 1-year-old died and those cops are lying. I can't believe, you know what's crazy? And when I made that video earlier, I did a lot of research before I even made that video. It took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to find out the complete truth. And that's fucked up. I'm gonna leave my video up because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make corrections when corrections are needed. In my video, I said, everybody's fucked up in this situation, right? But as I saw the comments, started doing a little deeper dive, come to find out, they just assumed a black woman stole some fucking diapers and killed her goddamn baby. What are we doing? We're breaking fucking news. I just did a deeper dive.
I don't know what you're doing, honey, but I know what we're doing. I want you all to pay attention. He said that everybody was wrong in that situation. Well, you know, you would be wrong if you were shoplifting, but that's a crime that you should be arrested for and taken to jail. And I want you all to pay attention to how racist devils, the MAGA crew, they want to sit up there and act like anytime a black person does something and they lose their life in the process, the first thing they want to say to justify the BS is, oh, they should have followed the law. Oh, they should have followed the lawful orders. Oh, they should have just complied. When they know damn well they don't even comply. They just don't get killed for it. Okay, and most of the time the black people are compliant. The police are yelling stop resisting, sometimes just to make it sound good, okay, on their audio, because they don't have the camera pointed to the person when they do that. Okay, that's what they don't do. Saw 10 white people beat the hell out of 2 police officers. I saw them beat the hell out of 2 white police officers. And guess what? The police didn't even pull out pepper spray on them. So when they say that BS about I fear for my life, miss us with it. That's a damn lie. How are you going to fear for your life when you got a partner, you got a gun, you got a nightstick, you got handcuffs, you got pepper spray, you got a taser? Get the F out of here with the bullshit. Okay? It's all BS. It's all BS. Because when white people do certain things, do they pull out a gun and shoot them? No, they don't. And we've seen enough videos by now to know that for a fact. They just want to wage war on Black people. That's what they have always been doing. We're under siege. I want y'all to pay attention. We are prisoners of war. And they have the nerve to sit there and try to say we play the victim in the race card. Sit down somewhere. The only ones trying to play the victim in the race card is them. Now they all of a sudden want to act like they're so oppressed. Oh, the white men, we can't even get a job because of DEI. White women benefited more so from DEI than anybody. Okay? Please miss us with all of the BS. I know y'all about to go in on this poor man, but just let him cook. Just let him cook. I know y'all about to let him have it, though. I'm pretty sure.
On our babies. Just like in the street, they're killing our babies. And before you get at me and you say, hey, Uncle Hammy, that's not your child, or that's not part of your community because you look like this and that beautiful child look like that. Fucking miss me with that, all right? That's not how I live my life. That's not how I feel. I feel like you are all my brothers and sisters, or however you identify my sibling. Let's use siblings. And then all those children are our children. That's how I live my life. If you don't live your life that way, fucking fine. But that's how I live my life. And they're openly killing our children at this point. And we're doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. Now, you know what's going to happen whenever I make videos like this? Comments come into my comment section. Maybe not on this platform, but you'll see them on other platforms. They come into my comment section and they're bots condoning this behavior. Shouldn't have been stealing. The cop is a hero. There's a concerted effort of people spending enormous sums of money to convince other people, specifically that look like me, to dehumanize and condone this behavior. Think about that. We don't do anything about that either. They're killing our babies and corrupting our minds, and we just go along with it, man. We just go along with it. And I don't know about you, but I'm done. I'm fucking done with it. Rest in peace, sweet child. Namaste. I love you. They're killing her.
All right. Now, with that all being said, I mean, the devils are busy. The devils are absolutely busy. But here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. That's absolutely very sad. And like you said, some of those people will be in the comments. I don't think they're bots. I think they're real people, MAGA types. Some of them may be bots, but they'll be sitting there talking about, oh, shouldn't have been stealing. Well, you know, that's how they feel. But let me tell you something. I want you all to pay attention. How do we know that Hunter and Austin started the mess with Karmelo Anthony? And how do we also know that they were brutes and bullies? You know how we know that? Because that's what most of them are. That's what most white men are, brutes and bullies. Okay, they go around bullying people that they think they can. And like my son said earlier today, my youngest son, he said they like to look for soft targets. Basically, they like to mess with the people who they think are weak. You know, like the elderly, women and children, or guys that are much smaller than them. And look how small Melo was compared to them. Okay? That's what they like to do. They try to find any reason, any excuse to start some BS. And the reason I say that we know they were bullies is because of what that guy just said. What kind of people, ask yourselves, really, seriously, what kind of people would say something like, oh, they shouldn't have been stealing after a toddler was murdered, after a toddler was killed? What kind of inhumane, psychotic, nefarious, evil person are you? Well, I think we all know. And so that's what racist people are. Okay. And so since Jeff Metcalf is racist, and we know that racist people always, not sometimes, okay, but racist people always, what do they always teach their kids? To be racist. So we know that Austin and Hunter are racist. Okay, some of their schoolmates have said they've used the N-word a time or two. So with that all being said, that's how all this thing started with Karmelo, as far as I'm concerned, because we have to go by the history of a people who has a history of bothering and harassing and starting mess with folks. Do black people have a history of bothering and starting mess and just harassing white people, trying to fight them, trying to punk them out, trying to tell them they have to leave? Do we have a habit of doing it? No, we don't. Because you see, we don't go around acting as though the world owes us something. We don't go around acting as though we're entitled. Okay? We don't go around thinking that we're better than others and that they need to bow down to us and bend the knee. That's what we don't do collectively. There might be a few idiots who try it, but I'm just saying, as a collective, black people don't do that. We know the people that do. And I'm not saying all of them, but it's a majority of them that do. Okay, because they think they're better, superior, and all of that, and that they have to police our black bodies. So with that all being said, we already know, and they know it too. They can lie as much as they want, but the bottom line is they know darn well, okay? They know darn well that they started with Karmelo. That's just the fact. Ashkan says you can't argue with consistency. Exactly. Okay, the pattern speaks for itself. The pattern speaks for itself. Now, let's go to the footage because they're out there protesting about the loss of life of this poor baby. Can you imagine a mother going to buy Pampers for your child and you come home with the child dead and now you just have Pampers? And you're probably thinking to yourself, if only I hadn't gone to that Walmart, if I'd have just gone somewhere else, if I'd have just waited till tomorrow, who knows what that poor woman is thinking? And then they lied and said she drove the car towards them. Let me tell you all something, black people. There are absolutely some people, like I said, and even some cops who are always looking to kill a black person, always looking for a reason. So if you drive your vehicle, you don't even have to be moving in their direction, but they'll lie and say that you were. And who do you think the judge is going to believe in the courts? Who do you think they're going to believe? Even if there's witnesses, who do you think they're going to believe when the officers are white? Who do you think? In this country, pretty much black people are damned if we do and damned if we don't. Yeah. Bunch of thugs. Black people are out there praying. See how stupid cops that is? See how stupid they look. Out there just like they're going to go to war in Iraq. And I said Iraq, not Iran, because I know darn well they don't want to go there. They don't want the smoke with the Iranians. Now, this is what's going on. Peacefully protesting and out there praying. But y'all are out there dressed like you're about to go to battle. Isn't that something? They don't even have to sit around and wait to see if anything's going to pop off or if anyone's going to do something crazy. But see, here's the news for them. We're not doing any of it. We're not rioting anymore. You're not doing it. Okay? We're not doing it. So please, miss us with all of it. We're going to just start withholding our dollars. That's what we're going to do. That's the gist of it. We're going to start withholding our dollars. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's go to the info on Karmelo. But let me say this, beloveds. This is what I also want to say. I was listening to Country Boys live last night on TikTok, and I didn't know this, but there was someone there who was in the trial, and she says that there was a guy who testified, a witness by the name of Jose. And she says that when Jose was on the stand, he's the one who said something about Austin or Hunter. Did he say Hunter? Hold on, let me pull up the clip. We're not going to listen to this whole thing, but I can't remember if she said Austin or Hunter, but nonetheless, she said that the guy on the stand named Jose basically said that Austin or Hunter came charging at Karmelo. I think it was Austin. and then did a football move on him, tried to do a football move, and said the defense said, was it a linebacker move? And he said, yes. Then all of a sudden, pay attention, the judge calls a recess. And everybody gets up and goes to the judge's chambers. And then about a minute later, the bailiff signals for Jose to come back there as well. She says when Jose comes back, he's looking very concerned. And then all of a sudden, his story starts to change. Okay, did y'all know that? Because I didn't. I would have been told you all this. I did not know it. Okay, so let me see if I think this is the clip. I have several clips. Hold on. I think this is it.
Gosh, they asked him about what's his name? Eddie. Okay. They asked him about Eddie, and then his question about he first said it was a linebacker move, and then when he came back, he said he did touch him. He didn't say nothing. He just said he did touch him, but it wasn't I guess the aggressive language he was using at first, like linebacker move. He pushed him and all that. When he came back, the language is lighter. It was like touch.
And you said it appeared that Jeff Metcalf may have been intimidating him somehow.
It didn't appear. I mean, just because the judge didn't have the courtroom recorded, you still got to record a courtroom for safety. If they pull any of them videos or have to, it will show Jeff signaling. It will show Jeff intimidating a lot of people.
About Jose, because yes, I learned that.
Absolutely, 100%. We were in that recess for 10 minutes.
Let me finish, man. Let me finish. You don't understand. I know you don't know what I'm doing on this end or whatever.
Oh, Lord, Cowboy, sit down somewhere. Hold on. He always trying to tell us what he's doing on the inside. Okay, good work, beloved. But hold on. Let me go to this other clip because she had to repeat it because that's when I started recording when I had just tuned in and I didn't hear the first part of what she said. But there's another part where she explains it to somebody who newly enters the chat or the panel.
Eddie's testimony. Yeah, she can tell whatever she wants. There's MJ. Hold on. She can do that, and I want her to tell MJ everything she can tell like she told us.
Now, where is MJ? Because y'all finna be mad at me because I am sleepy.
It's right underneath for you.
I'm right. Okay. What do you want to know? I'm a hard stop after our MJ, if y'all don't mind.
That's fine. Can you tell him everything you said about Steve's testimony and what went down and what it appeared to you was going down when they interrupted his testimony and everything? Can you explain all that to him?
Okay. Yes. So on
Who said it?
Yes. Okay. So he was on. So Jose was one of the last witnesses on Saturday, June 6th. He was a defense witness. And he went up. He just started telling exactly what happened. He said that Hunter initiated the first assault. He didn't say assault. He didn't say these words, but he just said Hunter touched Karmelo first, and then Austin touched Karmelo, and then Hunter pushed Karmelo. Then he used a term like he said a football push, and then the defense kind of asked him, was it like he was doing a linebacker move or a linebacker thrust? And he was like, yes, because it was more of a grab and pull. I mean, a pull and push. And then he was just telling everything. He talked about Hunter taking the backpack and throwing it. He's the first one that actually came out and said the words that Hunter said. He actually was like, Hunter said, I will beat your bitch ass. He said that. And so he was just...
He also, hang on 1 second. I got to do the puzzle. Bear with me.
Okay.
He also said that they grabbed him and pulled him back under the tent, right?
Yeah, well, they grabbed him by his hoodie.
Yeah, the front of his
when he was trying to get away. And then, so after he's testifying, and it basically sounds like what we all are being told or what we all know from the people who did see the video, since there was people who saw the video up to like 2 or 3 months after it happened last year. And they just stopped him. They objected. They went on recess for 5. They said we were going on a 5-minute recess, and the recess kept going for 10 minutes. They went off to that little back room or whatever. Jose was still there. They called him. He came back out. He got on the stand. His story did a 180. It just got real light and softer.
Who called him?
The judge called him. What do you mean? Like called him back?
What, the judge called him back to when they were back there in the back?
So everybody went, when they went to the little room, Jose was still there. Then Jose, I guess the bailiff signaled him. Yes. So they signaled him to come back. And then when he got back on the stand, they asked him 2 to 3 more questions. But those questions, the responses were way different than the initial information he gave us in his first timeout, his first testimony. So they completely just nullified what he did.
What about what you witnessed out of Mr. Metcalf with Jose?
When he came back in, he looked, I'm not gonna say he looked scared, but he looked very like concerned. Like it looked like a teenager that didn't know what he had did wrong. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like,
tell MJ what you know about what Mr. Metcalf.
So as you know, Jeff Metcalf was sitting behind the state prosecutors. So Jose kept looking over there. And we all, like, the people on my road, we turned around because we was like, why is he looking where he wasn't looking? You know what I mean? But he looking over there real consistently. And it was Jeff over there. But Jeff had been making hand signals, though, most of the state's time, though. He had been making hand signals.
I'm just going to tell MJ real quick.
Okay. That's all I wanted you all to hear. So you all heard that, right? I did not know that. Okay, so now Adrian says, Queen, when the judge calls the prosecution into chambers, the defense has to be present. When they called Jose into the chambers, why couldn't Karmelo be present? Do you know? Yeah, because they're racist. It was all a setup. It was rigged. At the end of the day, I don't even know if the defense went in there. They probably did. But here's the thing. It could have absolutely been an ex parte meeting. Okay, you know, that's when they had the legal proceeding, because we talked about this at somebody else's trial. I want to say, was it Young Thugs or somebody's? But it's when they have a meeting, a legal proceeding that basically just benefits one party. So I don't even know if his defense team got called in there, but I know they didn't let Karmelo go in there. Okay, well, when Eddie went in there, and here's the thing, if the defense team did go in there, then they absolutely know that somebody told Eddie to change that story real quick. Okay, so they were absolutely in on the fix. This is all so crazy. But one thing about it, honey, is all things eventually come to light. Okay, all things eventually come to light. Now I'm going to go to this video clip of this young man, the guy who was doing the breakdown about Cyrus, or who gave that analogy about Cyrus. Okay, he also did a video about Karmelo that I thought was very interesting. Like, so everyone, please like and share.
Quick, straight to the point. I have a couple pictures I'm going to show you. I want you to pause the video and read what I have underlined. We read the whole thing, but read what I have underlined.
Hold on, beloveds. I have my mic muted. Okay, I'm going to read this to you all. This is not the video. It's actually the one after this, but hold on. Let me read this first. It says, under cross-examination, hold on. I thought I had it paused. Okay, it says, under cross-examination, this teen admitted that he was worried about what might happen next. And he did take Anthony's warning seriously because he saw Anthony's hand in the bag, apparently holding something. The witness admitted that he stood up when Metcalf stood up because he didn't want there to be a fight. He agreed that Metcalf was standing. He was standing. Metcalf's brother was standing, and Anthony was sitting. Okay, so he's basically saying that they were towering over him. The witness said this clearly. Okay, this witness further described Metcalf's next action as a grab.
So you read the pictures I showed you.
Hold on.
Now,
I let it go
factor in that they said that factors. All right, so you read the pictures.
Okay. The witness further described Metcalf's.
Right, so,
damn it. Hold on, beloveds. Why isn't it pausing when I want it to?
Read the pictures I showed you. Now, factor in. All right, so you.
Metcalf's next action was to grab his hand, grab with two hands that knocked Anthony backward. He testified that's when he saw Anthony's hand come out of the
Read
bank.
the pictures I showed you. Now, factor in that they said they told him 15 times to move. They told him 15 times to move. All right, so go to my page, go to my profile, and look at the.
Okay, that's when he wants you to go look at the next video. First of all, I don't believe they told him 15 times, and who would believe that? Okay, who seriously sat there and counted? Okay, please make it all make sense. Okay, here's the breakdown right here. People were going in on him. He just kept making videos. I know they're mad.
I made a video a few days ago about the Karmelo Anthony trial. Well, basically the altercation between him and Austin Metcalf. And the thing is this. All right, for all you people that are getting on my video I made a few days ago, and you're basically saying Karmelo's guilty. And let's just say, for the most part, most of you motherfuckers are just some sick fucks. And you guys are either racist or just dumb as fuck. But I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say this. If you think this is what happened, that Austin went up to Karmelo by himself and just was like, hey, man, you got to get up out of here. And just did that. And then Karmelo stabbed him. Yeah, it makes sense why you would think Karmelo should go down. If that's the only context you believe that happened, then yeah, it makes sense to you that, and I would agree with you, damn, that's all that happened. He shouldn't have stabbed him. But that ain't what happened. And the fact that you're omitting everything else makes you a sick piece of shit. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you like this. All right, say this happened. Say me and any three motherfuckers that you know, yourself included, went to a bank. We all know each other. We go into a bank and you have no clue what I'm doing. You just assume that what I'm about to do is just withdraw some money. And I decide, without letting you know, that I'm about to go up in that bank. And then right when we all walk in, I pull out a gun and I say, all right, everyone put your fucking hands up. I'm robbing this bitch. What are you doing? Think about that for a second. What are you going to do? Right? Think about that. Are you going to do this? One or two things. Are you going to stand there and be like, yeah, he's robbing this bitch? Or are you going to be like, what the hell, dude? Like, calm down. What are you doing? Think about how you would respond to that. All right? Now, let's say you go with the first route, where you sit there and you go, try to puff up your chest and like you tough as fuck, right? The cops come barreling in there. Are they going to think you are part of the robbery? Or are they going to think that you had nothing to do with it? Now, keep that in your mind for a second, because I'm about to break it down to you. All right. Because then I made it, in that first video I made, I said that, and I'm saying this right now, the more I think about it, they should arrest Hunter Metcalf. All right? Because we know for a fact, Hunter has something to do with what happened between Austin and Karmelo. How do we know? When the shit first went down, what did Hunter say? We. He didn't say Austin. He didn't say I. He said we, meaning him and Austin and a couple other friends were telling Karmelo what to do. They were telling Karmelo what to do. You can't omit that out of what you think how Carmelo's guilty. You can't omit that. You can't say that happened and then leave that out because Austin's the one that put his hands on Karmelo. You can't omit the fact that the rest of them were involved. Why can't you? Because in the state of fucking Texas, the multiple assailant, there is a fucking law. Multiple assailants are the equivalent of a weapon. So the fact, and don't lose me here, the fact that they all approached Karmelo and they all were telling him what to do. All right, now think about that for a second. You have no right to say that. For one, Karmelo ain't got to listen to a thing they fucking say. He can sit where the fuck he wants. He ain't got to listen to what them motherfuckers say. If they tell him to move, he can decide to move, or he can just sit the fuck still. Your problem, that's how I know you got some sick fucks. Your first thought is to say this, that Karmelo was the provoker because all he had to do was move. Well, you know what the initial thought should have been? All they had to do is not fucking put their hands on him and tell him what to do. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was go run and tell the coach. But they didn't. They decided that they were the authority and they owned his black body. That's what they acted like. They owned his body and they get to tell it where to be. No, they don't. All right. So who are you to say that Karmelo, sitting down, who never got up, has to look up at Austin because you think it was only Austin involved? But like I said, Hunter already admitted that he was involved too. You think Austin or Karmelo's going to look up at Austin and then see his twin brother and think to himself, all right, if this turns into a fight, I'm sure the guy that looks exactly like him is not going to help him. And I'm sure the other two dudes are not going to help him. So he had every reasonable feeling to believe, all right, they're against me. They are against me. So at the point he had that feeling, and then it escalated from them telling him what to do to one of the attackers putting their hands on him. That's multiple assailants, you stupid fucks. The moment that happened, you can't just omit that because you can look up the law. One of them has to attack them. Not all of them, just one. Once one of them does, and they were all involved, they're accomplices. The same way you're in that bank, if you're standing with your chest puffed out and you ain't trying to stop me, right? And even if you ain't trying to stop me, you ain't letting it be known, look, I ain't got nothing to do with this shit. They didn't do that. They didn't say, yo, Hunter, what are you doing? Or Austin, what are you doing, dude? Just calm down. They didn't do that. They stayed there in an aggressive nature, showing Karmelo, we are in solidarity with this boy. We are against you. The fact that they did that makes them all accomplices. That's why it's a big deal. It doesn't matter if they all put their hands on him. One of them did. One of them did, and they were standing there trying to intimidate Karmelo. That makes them multiple assailants. So the fact that that was happening, you can't omit that. And the fact that you are makes you either racist or you're a dumb piece of shit.
Okay, neither which of one is good. Okay, so listen, I was going to talk about the Asian ban or whatever. I'm not going to talk about that. This video is too long already. Okay, we're almost 2 hours in, so we'll talk about that in the morning. But hold on. Now, as to what he was saying about the multiple assailants, okay, let's get into it because this is a doctrine in Texas. The multiple assailants doctrine in Texas allows individuals claiming self-defense to defend themselves against a group of people acting together, even if only one specific member of the group has actively struck or threatened them. Now, see, he put me on some game because I didn't know this. I did know they don't have a duty to retreat and they have stand your ground, but I did not know about this doctrine. Okay, so even if it's a group and only one of them attacks you, you have a right to defend yourself. Okay, it justifies the use of force, including deadly force, against anyone in the threatening group. Well, ain't that about a bitch? Okay, but they sent this young man to prison for 35 years. Okay, do you all see how this goes? You see how this goes? And you're right, beloved. I did tell you all a year and a half ago that Hunter needs to be in jail too. He started this mess. Okay, he started this mess. He was the one who initially started. He was the provocateur. But hey, here's the thing. I appreciate him for breaking that down and saying that or whatever, because I learned something new. The Texas doctrine, okay, of multiple assailants. Never knew about that. But I appreciate him. But here's the thing. These racist demons that he's talking to, that message is not going to resonate with them because the thing about it is they hate black people so much just for being black and them not being black. That's what it is. But the bottom line is they don't care about the laws. They don't care about the Constitution when it comes to black folk. When it comes to black people, anything goes as far as the racist is concerned, okay? They don't care about the laws and the rules or whether it was justified or not. They just want retribution. When anytime a black person defends themselves against one of them, a black person is carrying a gun, a black person does anything, that's how they do. Okay, that's what they do. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this conspiracy to destroy black boys. I'm going to get into this video, but let me say this first. Now, you all know that I've been telling you all for years that there absolutely is a conspiracy to destroy black boys. I even likened it to the biblical story about Moses. If you all remember in the Bible, when the Pharaoh feared that the Hebrew Israelites, which is us, by the way, that the Egyptians had enslaved, well, he felt that they would outgrow them. They would be, multiplying, and then they would assemble with other enemies and rise against the Egyptians and overtake them as a nation. And so, out of fear of that, what did they do? The Pharaoh ordered the midwives who were delivering the babies, ordered them to kill all of the Hebrew boys. That's what America is doing, you guys, in case you missed it. That's what they've been doing. This is why you'll notice that the men getting killed by police and the teens getting killed by police, these are usually the people in the prime of their lives when they still have the ability to procreate. Okay? Ages 15 to around 40. It's usually the ones that get killed by the police over BS reasons when they weren't even armed and the police lie and say that they fear for their lives. And you should know this is the truth because listen, there was a sheriff one time, and you all remember this video, I hope. There was a sheriff one time, and there was like 5 black people who had all been arrested. I guess they were like in some little group or crew or whatever. I wouldn't say it was a gang, but it was these 5 people, and there was like some women and guys involved. They were young people, like maybe in their early 20s. But nonetheless, they had been caught shoplifting. I think they all stole like maybe $500 worth of stuff. But the bottom line is, when they got arrested, the sheriff did a press conference. And the first thing I thought is, why is he doing a press conference about shoplifters? But he got up there in that press conference and he said that they all need to go to prison for life. He said, otherwise, they'll just be out here having 9 and 10 kids. That's what he said. Now, I want you to think about that because at the time he said it, I told you all, what does he mean they need to go to prison for life or otherwise they'll be out here having 9 or 10 kids? Why would he care about how many children they have? You see, because that's what they worry about. That's what they worry about, okay? They think like the Egyptian Pharaoh that one day our nation is going to rise up against them and do to them the things that they've done to us. But when I tell you we could never, I mean, some of y'all could, but that's really not in our nature collectively. I just want them to leave us the hell alone and mind their own white business while we mind our own black business. That's all they need to do as far as I'm concerned. Okay? That's all they need to do. I would never want to do some of the low down, depraved, heinous things that they've done to our people. I would never want to do those things to anyone. Okay, because I'm not that type of person. Because only a psychopathic, animalistic savage could put babies in a lake and have them fed to alligators. Okay, could tie a woman up by her ankles and slice open her pregnant belly and the baby falls out and they stomp it. Okay, could tie a black man to 2 horses on either sides, one arm to each horse, and then tap the horses so that they run and then rip the person in half. There's only a certain type of people that can do that, and I don't ever intend to be one. Okay? Because unlike some, I wasn't born with the Iceman inheritance. All right? I was born with the spirit of the Most High. You see, that's why I can rain down thunder when need be, but I also know how to show empathy, sympathy, and humanity. And you don't have to look like me for me to like you and to treat you with kindness and courtesy, as long as you treat me the same. But if you get out of pocket, I'm going to let you know. Okay? I don't want to be a part of the Epstein class. Okay? Like Ashkan said, Epstein style. Yeah, I don't ever want to be one of those people. And there's plenty of those people already. So if those people are worried about us doing those things to them, we could never, because that's not who we are. But somehow they have the world thinking that we're the most violent and nefarious, when all we want is alone. Okay? That's all we want. Now, with that being said, let's get into this video because time's ticking. Y'all just don't know I'm hungry. I haven't eaten a thing today. Literally. Deronda being messy, talking about Queen will check them with the quickness. Okay. Nirvana got my back, so y'all better sit down somewhere. Now let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share, beloveds. Okay, I appreciate you. We're almost out of here. Here we go.
Conspiracy out there, and it's not some weird out of space theory that people with tinfoil hats whisper about. This one is documented, researched, and lived every single day by Black families across America. And Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu told us decades ago, encountering the conspiracy to destroy Black boys, and he was telling the absolute truth. When you study the schools, the police, the courts, the prison, the policies, and the experiences of our sons, a pattern becomes clear. Our boys walk into school just as brilliant and eager as any other child, but they're not met with the same grace, not the same patience, not the same compassion. And let's be real. It's not because they misbehave more. It's because the teachers expect less innocence and more danger from them. Statistically, Black boys are 3 times more likely to be suspended and almost 3 times more likely to be expelled than white students for the exact same behaviors. And when it comes to harsh discipline, they're funneled into punishment while white students are redirected and supported, pushing our boys out of the classroom and into the pipeline.
Let me pause right there because listen, this is what I told you all the other day about Frisco. Okay, down there in Frisco, I told you all how they're so racist against the Black students there, the Indians too, but specifically the Black students, and how they only make up 11% of the student population, but they're suspended at 35% of the out-of-school suspensions are them. And they say that they're suspended more so than their white counterparts. So this is absolutely the case. And this is in most states, okay, not just Texas.
Now, let me speak on this as a mother of 3 sons, because when my oldest was in elementary school, every single year, I had to check the teachers. I had to call things out. I had to push back on labels that they tried to put on my baby. But after a while, when my second and my third sons came through those same hallways, I didn't have to fight as hard. You know why? Because the teachers already knew the type of parent that they were dealing with. They knew I was active. They knew I was engaged. They knew I was involved and present. And they changed how they treated my boys. This is why parental engagement is non-negotiable. Even if you work long hours, even if you work 2 or 3 jobs, send an email, introduce yourself at the beginning of the year, tap into the school portal, and let them teachers know my child is not alone. I'm here. Because when the schools know that a parent is present and tuned in, they are far less likely to mistreat that child. Our boys are criminalized at different magnitudes, adultified, feared, stripped of their innocence, treated as older and more dangerous than they actually are. And this is not theory to me. This is my lived experience. I'll never forget watching my son drive home from college, a Black boy, a Black Lexus, Black tinted windows, and that alone made him suspicious. When he got pulled over, he called me. I told him to put me on FaceTime. And right in front of my eyes, an officer put a gun to my child's head. My son began to cry. He begged. I heard him apologize even though he did nothing wrong. I'm sorry. What did I do? And the only thing that my son said he could think of was, please don't let me die while my mother is watching me on FaceTime. And the police couldn't find anything that he did wrong. In Kentucky, nearly every child tried as an adult is Black. Judges have been caught taking money, sending our kids to prison. Entire industries depend on the incarceration of our boys. This isn't dysfunction. It's design. So let's stay engaged. Let's stay informed. Let's stay vocal. Let's stay connected. And let's stay in the trenches fighting for our boys so the system will never have the final word. We will. And drop a Black fist in the comments and share this with everyone who needs to hear this important gem.
Okay, so she said the officer put a gun to her son's head and the boy started crying. Let me tell you something. That's what they want to do too. They want to humiliate you and dehumanize you. Okay? They want to make you beg and plead, but I would never beg and plead the police. You put a gun to my head, use it. Do me a favor. This world is hell anyway. Okay? You put a gun to my head, you might as well pull the trigger, honey. Okay? Because I don't fear death. I don't fear a damn thing. That's what I don't fear. Okay? Please pay attention. All right, I'm not begging you for anything. Not from some racist devil, because you would have to be a racist devil to put a gun to someone's head for no reason, just because you're a police officer wearing a badge. So go ahead, suit yourself. I'm not going to beg you for shit. You can take me up out of here before I beg and plead, and that's on everything. I will never beg a wanton supremacist who thinks that they're better than me, who thinks they can look down on me. I will never beg you, kill me if that's what you want to do. Okay, let's get to it. Because as far as I'm concerned, death is just the beginning of another life, another realm of existence. I don't fear anything. Miss me with all of it, except snakes. I do fear snakes. Let me not even lie and act like I don't. Okay, please miss me with it, but they want to humiliate Black people. Okay, they want you to bow down. They want to make you feel like, oh, I'm in charge. You better do what I say, ninja. Honey, I'm not on your plantation and I never will be. Okay, because if they start trying to enslave us for real, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said and his uncle before that said, and I believe, you might as well take me up out of here, honey, because I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to comply, period. All right? Speaking of that, those t-shirts I'm making for Karmelo, I'm also, now that I think about it, gonna make t-shirts saying I will not comply. Okay? Because I won't. All right? Sit down somewhere. Now, with that all being said, there are some new Black businesses, so let's give them some shine, shall we? Because we need to start supporting our own. There's more empty stores for the Asians.
Hey. Oh, I ain't.
Hold on, Lieutenant Muxwell. See, Lieutenant Muxwell, this is why you're nefarious. Talking about snakes. Snakes secretly love you, Queen, just like I do. Oh, beloved, you are something else. Okay? You are something else, honey. Okay? And I love you too. Now, D Major says, what if Christians are right about the afterlife? Who gives a damn? I'm not going to hell. Who cares if they're right about it? What you trying to say here, D Major? Huh? What are you trying to say? What if they're right about it? So you trying to say the Queen's going to hell? Honey, you better sit down somewhere. My name is already signed. Okay, the Lamb's book. Mind you, I beg your finest pardon, honey. You clearly tried it. You clearly tried. Do I need to drop the link for you? You know, I know you didn't go there. I know you didn't go there. Okay, honey, there is no heaven and hell. At the end of the day, we're already in hell right here. What could be worse than living a life where you're subjugated, oppressed, and constantly have to fight for your rights and all of that? This is hell right here. We're back in Egypt. Like the Bible says, you'll be brought again into Egypt. Now, we were captive. Our ancestors were captive in Egypt, and here we are in the new Egypt, which is the United States. Okay, so sit down somewhere talking about what if they're right. Honey, if they are right, then that means I'm going to heaven. Honey, what you talking about? Anywho, thank you for a donation with your low down dirty self. Going to try to give me a donation just to, just to insult me? How dare you? Anyway, let's continue.
I know you was back here, girl. I ain't even see you. Oh, nah, just making sure.
So how empty it was there, folks? This is why they're mad. This is why they're mad. Now, FBA Justice says, no matter what, be handy with the steel. Blue Thunder. The racists are upping the attacks on our young. Yeah, it looks like they certainly are, beloved. Okay, please pay attention. Yeah, absolutely right about that. So thank you for that information, beloved, and also for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Honey, it's all crazy out here. I mean, the day after the verdict, then we have this crazed lunatic shooting up his neighbor's home while they have children outside and only got a $5,000 bond. And they didn't charge him with attempted murder as they should have. Okay, make it all make sense. D Major said, not you, Queen. I'm talking about the evil ones. Oh, okay. I didn't care if you were, beloved, because I know I'm not going to hell, honey. Okay, please pay attention. You might be, though, probably with gasoline draws on, no less. I'm just teasing. Thank you, beloved. Okay, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. All right, FBA Justice, thank you for your contribution as well. Okay, now let's get back into it.
In the pocket leading me, watch me I need speed. I'm the story, take the lead. Cash bubbling on the need for speed.
It looks like business is bad, is all I'm saying. There's no cars out there. Nobody parked on the curb. He's just sitting out there lollygagging, honey. They ought to lock him up for loitering like they used to do black people back in the day.
Beneath the cowboy, boots and spurs, tucked in leather, water served, crumpled up with water sprite. I'm the reason dreams they climb from the honky tonk, the subway rise. Every pocket, every stride, every pocket, every stride.
Remember when I said don't boycott, we gotta replace? This is what I'm talking about.
Our strategy is go as close as humanly possible to them. We're better and cheaper. Why not? It's good business.
Running in. Okay, so now listen, guys, you're going to hear some crazy sounding music, but that's because he was playing music, and so I didn't know how to remove it, so I put my music on top of it. But pay attention to what he's talking about. He's saying that we need to start opening up businesses in close proximity to them, okay, basically doing whatever, or even the same thing.
It's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide.
So forget boycotting, replace these businesses in our community. You gotta support each other. Every community has a niche, something that they're known for. We don't have to be known for just what the media portrays us as. We're not just athletes and performers. We're not here just to entertain folks. We are great business minds. We have businesses. We just need to find our niche and start that business today.
That's the American dream.
What business are you going to start today? Put it in the comments. If you don't know how, I can help you for free from conception to trademark. I've done it all. Drop ship to your TikTok shop, sell on TikTok, source stuff from Alibaba, AliExpress. I've owned properties, restaurant, nonprofit. I even had the first Uber courier service called Cabbies. I'll talk about that later. Sell these items, get it fulfilled by Amazon. I do all of that, and I can help you too. So let's go.
All right. So y'all heard that, right? And so, yeah, that's all you got to do. That's all you have to do is support Black-owned businesses. Support yourselves, okay? Support yourselves. So, like I said, we're going to, Greta Lee said, Queen, your music is better. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay? Ray Johnson said he's a mechanic. Okay, beloved. All right. You can give us your information. Okay. If you don't do it now, you can do it another time, but that's good to know. Let everybody know what state you're in. Okay. And the name of your business, or if you're just mobile, because we could all use a good mobile mechanic. I know I have a good one. Okay. So now with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed, because y'all know how they be unsubscribing people on a regular, okay? I'll see you in the morning where we'll talk about the agents and what they're saying about us being racist and all of that. All right, so until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?